8 points. That's all that separates Manchester United from the teams below them in this Champions League race. 8 points. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, Bella, that's comfortable, relax. But is it though? Is it really? Because Liverpool are level on points with us. Aston Villa are level on points with us. We're third on goal difference. That's how tight this actually is at the top end of that table. And yet everyone's acting like the job is done. It's not done. And Monday night against Brentford, this matters more than people are giving it credit for. Now look, I've been covering this club long enough to know that the moment you start treating a game like a formality, that's the moment the game bites you. We lost to Leeds 2 weeks ago. Leeds, a team fighting in mid-table, and don't let the quick recovery at Chelsea fool you. That Chelsea result papered over cracks that are still there. So before we get into the tactical side of this, and we're going to go deep today, trust me, I need you to actually appreciate what this game means, because it's not just 3 points. It's a statement. It's Carrick'S saying this team knows how to handle pressure, and it's a chance to genuinely put some distance between us and the chaos below. Right. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Bella. This is Bella MUFC Analysis. And if you've been here a while, you already know we don't do surface level on this channel. We go deeper, always. So if you like that kind of content, hit subscribe, drop a like on the video. It genuinely helps this channel more than you know. And let's get into it. Let's start with something that I don't think is being talked about enough. The defensive situation going into this game is genuinely alarming. And I'm not being dramatic. I mean, think about it. Lisandro Martinez, suspended. Matthijs de Ligt, long-term injury. Patrick Dorgu, still not fit. Lenny Yoro, doubtful. Carrick himself said, and I'm paraphrasing here, there's a possibility, but we're not 100% sure. That is not a confident confirmation. That is a manager managing expectations. And what that tells me is we might go into a must-win home game with Harry Maguire and Aiden Heaven as our centre-back partnership. Now, I want to be fair here. Aiden Heaven has been one of the genuine bright spots of this second half of the season. That kid is composed. He reads the game well. And for a young player, he's handled the pressure of filling in at the back with a lot of maturity. But here's the thing. He's being asked to do this against Igor Thiago, a striker who has scored 21 Premier League goals this season. 21. That's not a small number. That's a top-level centre-forward performance. And a 21-goal striker against a patched-up back line. That's where I start to feel a little uneasy. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but doesn't it feel like United are one mistake away from a defensive catastrophe in almost every game right now? And the thing is, it's not that the players aren't trying, it's the system. When Carrick lines up with Maino, Fernandes and Casemiro in that midfield three, the shape requires the fullbacks to push high, which means the centre-backs are exposed to pace in behind. And Brentford specifically, love playing balls in behind the defensive line. Ouattara on that right side, Shad on the left. Both of them are dangerous in transition. Both of them can run, and if United's fullbacks get caught high, that's where Thiago gets his opportunities. This is the tactical tension in this game, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. Now let's flip it, because I don't just want to talk about the threat. I want to talk about why United can win this. And they should win this. They genuinely should. But it has to come through Bruno. I was looking at the stats ahead of this game, and I actually had to check the number twice. Bruno Fernandes has completed 109 key passes this season. 109. So the next closest, Declan Rice and Szoboszlai, both on 61. That's not a small gap. That's almost double. And here's what makes that number even more remarkable. Those key passes aren't just through balls or line-breaking passes. A significant chunk of those come from set pieces, corners, free kicks. Bruno has more set-piece goal assists than anyone in the Premier League this season, more corners leading to goals, more free kick assists. Now think about that in the context of this game. Only Arsenal have scored more Premier League goals from set pieces than United this season. Arsenal on 19, United on 16. Those aren't numbers you just stumble into. That's a trained, deliberate weapon. And against Brentford, who are going to sit deep, press United's build-up play and try to frustrate them in open play, set pieces might actually be the key to unlocking this game. And this is where Maguire coming back matters tactically, not just defensively. Because Maguire in the box at corners, that's a genuine aerial threat. He wins headers, he creates problems. And with United's delivery from Fernandes being what it is this season, Maguire returning from suspension isn't just about shoring up the defence. It's actually adding an attacking dimension at set pieces too. That's the kind of detail that doesn't get talked about enough. But here's the part nobody is talking about. Matheus Cunha. Specifically, Matheus Cunha against Brentford. He scored twice in his last 4 meetings against them when he was still at Wolves. Twice. And these weren't flukes. These were goals where he pressed defenders into mistakes, received in tight spaces, and finished with composure under pressure. That's exactly the kind of striker Brentford struggle to deal with, because Brentford defend well against direct strikers. They're physical, they're well organised, their centre-back pairing of Collins and Vandenberg are strong in the air, strong in duels. But Cunha is not that kind of striker. He doesn't play direct, he drifts, he pulls between the lines, he creates space through movement rather than pace or power. And that's a different kind of problem for a Brentford defence that is very used to dealing with one type of threat. Now add this, there's a genuine question about the starting lineup in attack. The preview suggests Amad Diallo could come in for Sesko, and I want to sit with that for a second, because Sesko has been in incredible form in 2026. If you look at the numbers since January, he's been one of the most clinical centre-forwards in the league, but Amad brings something different. He's direct. He causes problems with his movement off the ball. He creates more in narrow spaces. And against a Brentford team that defends in a mid-block, not too deep but compact, you actually want players who can operate between the lines, players who can receive and turn quickly. So for me, and this is just my take, if Carrick starts Amad over Sesko, it's not a downgrade, it's a tactical choice, and it might actually be the right one. Let me ask you something. Do you think Brentford are going to come here and park the bus? Because I don't. I genuinely don't. And I think that's where this game becomes even more interesting than people expect. Keith Andrews has done a remarkable job this season. I'll give him that. Brentford were supposed to be a mid-table team fighting relegation. They're 9th with 48 points. They've overachieved massively, and Andrews has them playing with an identity, a clear identity, high press, quick transitions, and Thiago as the focal point of everything. But here's the problem for Brentford coming into this game. 5 draws in a row in the Premier League, 5. And those aren't exciting 2-2 draws. These are tight, low-scoring, passive draws. They drew 0-0 with Fulham at home last time out. They look like a team that's running out of energy, a team that's lost a bit of their edge in the final third. Now, 2 things can be true at the same time. Brentford are hard to beat, and Brentford are also not winning enough right now. And for a team chasing European football, that combination is dangerous, because you can't draw your way into Europe. At some point you have to win. And the problem is their remaining games are brutal. West Ham, then Manchester City, then Crystal Palace, then Liverpool. If they don't get something from this United game, their European dream is basically over, which means Andrews might actually set up to attack on Monday. And that changes the tactical equation for this game completely. Because if Brentford come here to play, if they press high, if they push men forward, then United have space to exploit on the counter. And with Cunha and Mbeumo in behind defenders on the break, that's genuinely dangerous for Brentford. Mbeumo. Let's talk about Mbeumo for a second, because I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for what he does in this system. He's not flashy. He's not going to do 10 step-overs and leave you breathless. But his off-ball movement, his runs to create space for Fernandes and Cunha is intelligent, it's deliberate. He occupies wide defenders and forces them to track him, which opens lanes centrally. And when United transition quickly, when Casemiro picks the ball up deep and Fernandes drops to receive before immediately playing forward, Mbeumo's running behind is often what creates the goal opportunity. We saw it against Chelsea. The goal came from a first-half move where United were patient in possession, drew Chelsea's midfield in, and then played forward quickly into Cunha in space. That's the blueprint, and Brentford's high press, if they go with it, creates exactly those spaces. This is why I actually fancy United in this game, not because Brentford are bad, they're not, but because United's attacking system, when it works, is genuinely excellent. The midfield 3 functions. Manua gives you the engine room. He's physical, he's composed under pressure, he wins the ball back high. Casemiro gives you the base, he reads the play, he screens the defence. And Fernandes gives you the creativity, the chance creation, the delivery. When those 3 work together, and they have been working together, United look like a team with genuine quality. Now, I want to come back to something bigger, because this match preview has a story inside it that I find genuinely fascinating. Michael Carrick. Think about where this club was 6 months ago. Ruben Amorim, the 3-4-3, the players who looked lost, the results that were embarrassing, a 15th-place finish last season, the lowest in the Premier League era, and now Champions League almost secured, a team that actually looks like they enjoy playing. And I think the most important thing Carrick did, the single most important decision, wasn't tactical. It was cultural. He made Kobbie Mainoo feel wanted again. That might sound simple, but think about what was happening under Amorim. Mainoo, one of the most exciting young midfielders in England, was being introduced as a substitute in the 65th minute, being underused, being almost invisible. And there's a story, and I find this detail incredible, that when he came on as a sub at the G-Tech earlier this season, the United away end gave him a massive cheer. Not because it was a great moment in the game, but because it was a pointed message to the manager. This player should be starting. Amorim couldn't fit him in, couldn't find a system that worked around him. Carrick found it in weeks. The three-man midfield of Mainoo, Fernandes and Casemiro, balanced, energetic, creative, all three working off each other naturally. And Mainoo has been so good since that change that he's back in the England squad, That's not a small thing. That's a career turnaround, and it happened because a manager finally trusted him. And here's what that means for Monday night. When Brentford try to press that midfield, and they will try, they're not pressing three players. They're pressing three players who are all comfortable under pressure, all capable of playing out, all intelligent enough to find the release valve. Jensen and Yarmolenko in Brentford's midfield are hard workers. They're disciplined, but they're not going to bully that United midfield. They're not physically superior. And in terms of quality on the ball, United have the clear advantage. The question is whether Brentford can disrupt United's rhythm early, because that's what happened against Leeds. Leeds pressed aggressively in the first 20 minutes. United were sloppy in the build-up. The midfield couldn't establish control. And by the time United started playing, the deficit was already there. That first half performance against Leeds still bothers me. It really does, because it showed that this United team, even with all the recent momentum, can still be rattled, can still be disorganised in the opening stages of a game. And I'd be lying if I said that didn't worry me a little going into Monday. Carrick has to get this right from the first whistle. The intensity has to be there from kickoff. No slow starts, no waiting for the game to come to them. Right, let me ask you something. Drop this in the comments. Do you think Maguire starting is the right call? Because I'm genuinely split on this. On one hand, yes, he's a senior defender. He's experienced. He wins headers. He reads the game. And with the injury crisis at the back, having someone who knows what they're doing is important. On the other hand, Eindhoven and Mazraoui actually played well at Chelsea. They were solid, they were organised, and there's something to be said for continuity. Disrupting that partnership for a player who hasn't played in 2 weeks, who's been sitting on the sidelines watching, might actually create more problems than it solves. I keep going back and forth on this, and I think it's actually one of the most interesting selection questions of the game. If Euro is fit, and I mean genuinely fit, not 50% fit, then the partnership changes again. Euro and Maguire, Euro and Heaven, these are different options with different implications. But if Euro doesn't make it, I genuinely think Carrick has to decide whether continuity or experience matters more. And I don't think there's an obviously correct answer. What do you think? Maguire in? We'll keep the Chelsea back line. Let me know below. Let me zoom out for a second, because there's a historical dimension to this game that I actually love. Brentford have never won a Premier League away game at Old Trafford. Never. United have won all 4 home Premier League games against Brentford. But, and here's the part that gives this genuine tension, Brentford won at the G-Tech 3-1 earlier this season, so they know they can beat this United team. They've done it recently. They have the blueprint. And there's something interesting about a team that's never won at Old Trafford going into a game knowing they beat their opponents just months ago. That confidence, that knowledge changes things psychologically. Brentford won't be intimidated by Old Trafford the way some teams are. They've been here before. They've played big games. Their squad has experienced players, Henderson, Collins, Van den Berg, who've been in high-pressure environments. Even without Henderson available, the mentality in that squad is good. The last time a team won here that hadn't won here before, I always find those games fascinating, because the first time always feels impossible, and then it happens. And suddenly the mystique is gone. United cannot let Monday night be that game. Here's what I think the real danger is for United, and I mean the real tactical danger, not Thiago's goals. Not their set-piece defending, not the injury crisis at the back, it's the transition phase. Brentford, when they're at their best, are devastating in the moment they win the ball back, the moment Jensen or Yarmolenko intercepts a pass, or Thiago wins a header and flicks it on. The speed with which they get into their attacking structure is elite. Ouattara on the right side is rapid, he can run in behind, he can cut inside. He creates 1-versus-1 situations that fullbacks hate. And if United's fullbacks Shaw on the left, Dalot on the right, push too high in the build-up phase, that space in behind is exactly where Brentford will look to exploit. Casemiro's positioning becomes absolutely critical in this game. If he drifts too far forward, which he sometimes does when United are dominating possession, he leaves the space between the midfield and the defensive line exposed. And that's where Thiago loves to receive. Thiago's 21 goals haven't come through pure pace. He's not just a runner. He's intelligent. He drops deep to receive, turns, and then drives. He's good in tight spaces. He finishes with both feet. He's one of the most complete number 9s in the Premier League this season, and I think he's massively underappreciated outside of the Brentford fan base. Casemiro needs to be disciplined. He needs to stay compact. He needs to be the wall in front of that centre-back pairing. Because if he isn't, if United's defensive shape isn't organised in transition, Thiago will find pockets, and one chance is all a 21-goal striker needs. Now let me give you my honest read on how I think this game goes. I think United win. I do. I think the quality in the final third, Fernandes, Cunha and Bomo with Ahmad potentially coming in, is too much for a depleted Brentford squad that's running on fumes after 5 draws. I think a set piece from Fernandes causes problems. I think Maguire's return actually galvanises the defensive shape. And I think this is my gut feeling. Cunha scores. Against the team, he always seems to hurt. He's been in form, he's been consistent, and he has a personal history against Brentford that should give him confidence. I'm going for United 2, Brentford 1, not a clean sheet, because I'd never predict a clean sheet with our defensive situation right now. Thiago is too good, but I think United have enough quality to win the game. But here's the bigger picture. 2 wins from 5 games. That's all it takes to mathematically secure Champions League football. 2 wins, and United have Brentford at home, Liverpool at home, Sunderland away, Nottingham Forest at home, and Brighton away. If they get the Brentford result, if they get this one, the momentum going into Liverpool is different. The confidence is different. And honestly, I think a home game against Liverpool with Champions League football basically secured is a game United could genuinely win. Liverpool have had a tough second half of the season. Their form has dipped. They're level on points with us. There's everything to play for in that fixture. But none of that matters if United don't take care of business first. This is the game that sets the tone. This is the moment where Carrick says, my team handles big moments. My team doesn't slip up when it matters. And if he gets it right on Monday night, I genuinely think we're watching the beginning of something real at Manchester United. Not just a good end to a season, but a rebuild that's actually working. A manager who understands the identity of this club. A squad that's finding its personality again after years of feeling completely lost. The big summer is coming. 5 potential signings already being talked about. And if United finish in the Champions League, if they walk into the transfer window with European football secured, the conversations they can have with players change entirely. That's the real prize. Not just 3 points on Monday, not just 3rd place in the Premier League, but the foundation for what comes next. And that's why this game, this specific game against Brentford, matters more than the scoreline suggests. It's not just about winning, it's about United showing they've learned that they don't gift momentum to opponents, that they don't have soft underbellies anymore, that when a team comes to Old Trafford with something to prove, with history to make, United are ready. Brentford want to win at Old Trafford for the first time. They want to keep their European dream alive. They want to prove that their season has been real, has been earned, has been something worth remembering. United have to deny them all of that. And if they do, if they play with the focus and the intensity this moment requires, then Monday night isn't just a result. It's a message to the rest of the league, to the summer transfer targets, to the fans who have been through so much darkness over the last 2 years. This United team is back. That's what Monday night could mean, right? That's my full take on this one. Maguire's return, the Euro doubt, Igor Thiago as the biggest threat, Fernandes' set-piece dominance, Cunha's personal history against Brentford, the 5-draw crisis at Brentford, the tactical tensions in transition, and the bigger picture of what Champions League football means for this rebuild. If you made it this far, thank you. Genuinely, drop a comment below and tell me your score prediction. I want to see what you're thinking. And if you disagree with anything I've said, tell me, challenge me. That's what the comments are for. If you're not subscribed yet and you want this level of analysis before every big United game, hit subscribe. New content drops regularly. And if you found this useful, a like on the video helps more people find the channel. I'll be back after the match with the full analysis. Until then, come on United, let's get this done.